Welcome to The Mix, a fusion dance podcast where we dive into the world of blending dances and all that comes with it. We're talking about everything from the highs of nailing that perfect combo to the lows, emotional, and mental challenges and more. And if you're new to the dance scene, don't worry, we've got you covered with practical tips to help get you started, feel comfortable, and most importantly, have fun. So come on in. We can't wait to dance with you. Hi, and welcome back to the show. Today, we are so excited to talk about our weekend in San Francisco, actually Oakland, technically, for the Weekender City in Motion. Summed up, usually weekenders are like 3 days. Nope, actually, usually Friday is just dancing, social dancing at night. And then Saturday and Sundays are full of classes or workshops, and then social dancing at night. And it's where when you try to do both, like we do sometimes, you're sleep deprived and your body on Monday is like, what are you doing to me?
Some things ended up being canceled. So we ended up having a weekend where it ended up being 2 days of social dancing rather than the initial 3 days of social dancing and no classes. So we got to adventure, gallivant throughout SF and Oakland, and just kind of enjoy the sights and sounds of the Bay Area while also enjoying the dancing on the Friday and Saturday evenings.
Yeah.
For me,
Go
I
ahead.
loved having a crew of people who are also going through the same thing. I feel like it made it easier. It's kind of like when the world shut down. It's easier when you have people that are going through the same thing with you, because then you're like sharing the load. And then it's like, okay, how do we make the most of the situation instead of just, oh, I'm in it and this sucks. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You know what? It was like I remember, when people ask like, "Oh, where are you from?" Or they would say like, "Oh, where do you go dancing?" And you're like, Well, I'm from LA, and there's a crew of us here, just a small group." And then followed by that, I would say, "We came because we couldn't get refundable tickets on our flights, so we had to go." Because, for a short weekend like that, you're like, "Oh, just gonna buy the cheapest flights."
Yeah.
And, Frontier, I even got the cheapest one from Southwest leaving from Burbank.
Mm,
Uh,
dude.
yeah.
That's like a detail you definitely did not have to add. It's like the fact that you're like, "Yeah, I didn't have a choice. I had to be here." It's like
I like giving people context sometimes. And they're like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I think most people were locals, and there were a few, like, we met a couple from New York.
Nueva
Um,
York,
I know, and there were some people from Seattle. But
Colorado.
yeah, that's what's so cool. Again, it's like
Mhm,
instead of like the international trip that I had, it's more of like nationwide.
mhm.
Um,
There were also some folks from, like, Vancouver and, like, whatnot as well, so
yeah, and I think the reason why weekenders are great is that, oh, man, you dance with some people where they show you things you didn't know could exist. It's like going to a kitchen and you're working with different chefs,
mhm.
and you learn everything from culinary school, and then a chef shows you like three different ingredients that you never thought would work together, and it makes like an amazing dish, or like. Or it just you add it to your just more knowledge to add to your toolkit. Or in this case, I felt like there were other leads I danced with that played really well into musicality. So well, I was
Mm.
like, "What is this?" And also, I feel like in Northern California, the Bay Area, it's hard because 'cause I'm like, "How many of them are local?" But there were a hella lot of switch dancers. Yeah, I remember even, when we were talking with our group that a lot of people are asking in the beginning of dance, like, "Do you lead, follow, or switch?" Whereas in LA,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't get a lot of that. You get some, but this was where it was like, I felt like almost every dance I
It
had.
was like the norm, the
Yeah.
expectation, yeah.
And I think I'm so used to, I guess, a lot of leads being majority male. So I just never thought about asking females to be like, "Hey, do you want to dance? But do you know how to lead?" Like, how do you know who leads, who follows? In a way,
Mhm,
I don't know. Wish there was like some wristband that just said like, "I only follow," or "I only
mhm.
lead," or "I
That's
switch."
that's true, yeah.
Yeah, because especially because I think with other people when they're dancing, like we know the
Stickers,
people.
shirts,
Yep.
things like that.
Because we know
I
in
did
our.
see somebody with a sticker actually that had, like, a "Ask Me to Lead" joint, like, I saw
Oh,
that somewhere. It was, like, a real shiny thing too.
yeah. What do you think about the music that was played there? I guess compared to also, like, the weekender we went to Philadelphia earlier this year. Or not Philly, but
Lancaster,
mhm.
Lancanistan. Yeah, you know what? The East Coast, especially in the Lancaster scene, it's a lot more like blues and traditional Lindy sort of influence. So the music kind of reflects that. And we got a little bit of like a little bit of kids, a little bit of that sort of I think with New York, they have some kind of like they kind of go into like the synths and the fusiony stuff, but the Lancaster scene really they don't do that as much. Whereas over here, there's a lot of stuff that has I'd say more intricate percussions and then a lot of sort of stringy, dark synths. So you have stuff that sounds kind of techno-y. It's really micro friendly, and it feels like that was where the music went in different parts of the night. I thought there were some DJs that, I mean, as with any place, there's some DJs you like more than, than others, some that you're just like, oh, this set. So for me, anytime I get a set that has like Latin or Afro or like there was some I forget which set it was, but there was a set that had like it had some like some Haitian and some Senegal. I think it was Senegalese. I'm not 100% sure, but it was like there were different artists. And I'm like, oh, this is what I want. Like this is me, you know. It also felt like it was like more micro slash tango friendly. So it was smoother. And I was like, oh, this is different. So I have to dance a little different. So, I'm not as like as big and flashy in LA as I'd like to be. So I was like, okay, it felt like it kind of it pulls different things out of you. It's like different ingredients that you may not normally work with. But if you're open and you respond to those, then you can kind of come up with stuff that might even surprise you, where you're like, oh, I forgot I knew how to use this, you know?
What do you think or feel is the difference between the LA scene and the Bay scene for
Ooh,
fusion in terms of flavor?
yeah, 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 yeah. I think LA dancers are more expressive visually. I think we tend to go up. Like when the music goes up, we go up. And I think we try to find places where we can act out. I think because there's like contact improv slash like musical theater sort of influence there. And we also tend to, I think there's more of like the West Coast swing. There's more of a faster, stretchier sort of kinetic connection. There's a lot of in and out, in and out. Like you're close, then you're far, but use the stretch and the compression. Whereas the I'd say like the Bay in general, it felt more compressed. Like people kind of stay together. It was more consistent, more even. And then in the places that we typically in LA would go up, they would go down, like they would drop. So there was a lot of like move, 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 then hold. Or it would go, you kind of accelerate, accelerate, and then slow, back up, slow. It never felt like you were I don't want to say in danger, but like you weren't gonna get super dizzy. I didn't see people do like 20 turns or something like that. It was more of like you might see two, maybe three, but even then, it tended to be smooth in their floor craft.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say they had great floor craft, great, great floor craft.
Mhm. I would say it was very little rare that I, got bumped into someone else.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Friday night, there was less of a crowd, and Saturday was obviously, like, when people came down,
Yeah.
for sure. So I did get some bumps there, but overall, like, we, the
Yeah.
LA group, were talking about it. Okay, so pretty much this is our schedule. During the day, I would sleep until 4 PM, and everyone else in the Airbnb went off and did their own thing, and then we would all Uber together to the dance social, go home, be starving, eat ramen, and while we're eating ramen, one person is taking a shower, there's only one bathroom, and then during that time, we would do, like, just talk about our dances for pretty much, like, podcast
We basically
about, like,
podcasted.
yeah,
Yeah.
for our night, and, one thing we all agreed on was the floor craft was so much better there. In LA, it's just inconsistent, there I it's like I now understand when people who've traveled or instructors and stuff, like, say things about the LA dance scene, like, where we need to improve, right? And so you're like, "Oh, really?" And then when you see it and you travel and you're able to compare and compare notes,
Yeah.
and experience it, it makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
I don't think I think LA, we definitely do have a lot of strong dancers. They're not in fusion sometimes yet
Mm.
yet, but also, I think it's kind of like this is what I thought of. I feel like the Bay is like a solid restaurant where a lot of the dishes are solid, right? You go there, it's like it's good. It's good. It's consistent. Um, in LA, it's like a restaurant where some of the dishes are like, "Oh my gosh, this is really good. I amazing." Like loved it. It was so memorable. It will be in the back of my head for a very long time. But
Mm.
then there's some dishes where you're like, "Oh man, they should take this off the menu. This is not like this isn't executed well, or like the
Yeah.
flavors don't melt. Um, the chicken is undercooked. This is not seared correctly. The technique is off.
Mhm.
And so I feel like in LA, I've had like my highest dances there, but I've also had my lowest dances there.
Mm.
You know, they're just more just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like a
Higher highs, lower lows.
yeah, exactly. Whereas the Bay, I can see when people are like, "Oh, the Bay Area is good." It's just more consistent. But I wouldn't say like I've had like euphoric highs, but maybe I'm looking for something different in my dance. But
Mm.
it's that's how I feel. Like if I had to compare it in a restaurant
Hmm.
sense. I will say, I think in LA, in terms of flavor, sometimes we'll get a little splash of flavor from, let's say, the Zouk scene, maybe some people from Latin.
Yeah.
I think I think in fusion, there's a lot of swing, sometimes ballroom, tango. I definitely felt a lot of tango in the Bay when I was dancing.
Yeah.
Um, and what is the other and like dances that are very like walky or steppy, right? But I would love to see more infusion in general, the world. Latin Afro dances intertwined there. I feel like it's kind of like that category isn't there. There's not a bridge to connect it yet. I don't know whether it's like we don't have the instructors or like
Mm.
the connections there yet, but I would
Yeah.
love and I think that's what we're trying to do in the LA area of bringing because we have that scene. We have a Zouk scene,
Hmm.
Kiz, and salsa and bachata,
I
Yeah.
also think that like I would even add in categories like compa, for example, um in Haitian music in general. Like there's so much rich music coming from the diaspora, from the African diaspora, and styles of connecting and interacting that are nuanced. And I think that flavor things like micro, for example. I'll also say I think the Bay in general, like they have very, very strong micro.
When I was in the Bay, I was like, "So this is what good micro feels like," or
Hmm.
"This is what dynamic micro feels like."
Yeah, yeah.
And
You know what? I noticed that, and I have a question for you in a second. I noticed that there were things that I could pull out from bachata that even if that wasn't necessarily what a person's background was, that they could pick up on in a way where typically when I'm here, I don't really get to use that side as much because most of the time people, it's just there's no language for it, right? Like I might do something, and typically like you might get it if I do, but also like we've danced enough, I think that you like kind of know what I do and all that stuff. But I could go there, and then even when it came to like some of the micro movements, I could add some of those shoulder hits or the even using like the knee lead, right? Like the sort of in between to add like the waves and things, which I'm not a body roll type of guy. That's not really me. But if the song calls for it and it's there were different rolls and leads. And I was like, yes, like I can lean into like slow-mo Caitlin, not just zoomy, we're going up in the sky Caitlin.
so for you, because you're a lead, did you feel like you can do more vocab with the dancers here at the Bay in City of Motion? Whereas like if you did it with dancers in LA, they wouldn't get
Hmm.
it. I'm just trying to figure out like
Hmm.
what's the difference between your experience with followers
Yeah.
up in the Bay versus LA.
Oh, it's more like different. I'd say it's different. I wouldn't say it's like I could lean more into the smaller stuff, the more sort of like nuanced, the between the beat stuff, where typically in LA, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go up. That's what the song calls for sometimes, and also that's what the person is responding to. So we can go, if we're dancing a song like Movement, by Hozier, right? We're gonna fly. Like we're going up and that's gonna happen. Versus here or versus in the Bay, I can play with the in between beats and actually slow down and it still feel as dynamic, but it's smaller. So I like both depending on the mood. I tend to like more zoomy stuff, but I can really appreciate slowing down and hitting those like really tiny doop 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 dot dot doom doop pieces.
So in LA, why do you not choose to go that route then?
It doesn't always feel like it's there. It doesn't feel like that's what the person I'm dancing with responds to,
Got it. And so
you
would you
know?
say like the follows that you had in NorCal were just more sensitive where they can pick up on it?
Yeah, I'd say they were more sensitive to the small stuff. And also, to be fair, I did dance with some people who weren't from the Bay. So I can't fully say like, oh, the Bay is all this because there were people from, Colorado and from Vegas and just from other areas there too. So, um, but generally speaking, yeah, I would say it was definitely more, it felt like there was more of that sensitivity to
Right.
play with the smaller things.
Mm, mm. In terms of expectations, do you feel, you know how like sometimes after Weekender, we talked about like, when if people come back from a congress or whatever, and
Mm,
you're like, wow, my brain has learned so much, or
mhm.
like this, um,
Yeah.
do you feel that from this weekend? It's from the two, I guess, dance socials.
No, I don't, but that's also because things changed, and I think that kind of shifted the climate in the room. Because like Friday, I say Friday typically, Friday is my worst night, and Saturday or Sunday is like the highlight night. But this one, Friday was my best night, and that's where I was like, okay, I know something's gonna be, hmm. And I think that was because for a couple reasons, but one of them is that with Friday, you have no expectations. You're going into it just kind of getting a lay of the land. And you also realize that typically you're like, oh, I have Friday, I have Saturday and Sunday. Because it changed, it then became about maximizing on Friday and Saturday. It felt like Friday I danced with fewer people, but those dances were like, oh, they were so good. And I ended up, it's kind of funny because like I ended up dancing like multiple with people where I usually am only dancing one and then I move on, especially because you're at a thing with a lot of new people or people you don't know. So to me, I'm like, I want to dance around. But I ended up getting a lot of great dances, and then they'd say, "You want to do another?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go!" Like, yes, let's go. Versus Saturday, I feel like I danced with a lot more people and different people, but I had higher highs and lower lows. Actually, you
Mm.
know what? I'd say the highs were about the same, but I had lower lows than Friday.
Do you think it's because on Saturday there's a more influx of people, so there's
Mhm.
going to be a wider range of skill?
Yeah, I'd say there's that. There's also that people were like the energy is a little different because people are
It's
they
like
know
party
it's
night.
the last day. No, it's well, yeah, but it's like they know it's the last day. I think for me, like I was like, oh, you know it's the last day, so you're gonna try to get the dances that you want to get in, or maybe you're just, you're trying to hurry and you're rushing it because you know it's gonna end. It felt different, It was a different feeling in the room. It didn't feel as like calm and laid back and present, like everyone was there. It was like, oh, I gotta get dances with so and so because if I don't, it's not
Oh, okay, okay. Like, are you saying that like with the local people or more like for yourself?
In general, I mean, it felt like that's what I observed, For myself, I was very much trying to be intentional about, and maybe this kind of bit me in the butt in some ways, but I was like, it's not that I don't want to ask people to dance. It's more so I'm not going to force it if it's not there. Like, I'm not really going to run across the room and be like, oh, I have to dance with, Terry from Minnesota. Like, it has to happen. It was more like, oh, if it happens, cool. Like, if they're next to me or they're close, great. But if they're not, okay. If we make eye contact and there's an invitation, cool. But I'm not gonna, do that extra step of just, sprinting across the room and all that kind of stuff, knocking people over and being like, I'm next.
Yeah, I think with the expectations, I didn't get that like, oh my gosh, wow factor as well because everything like the event was cut down a lot more, felt more like without all the classes and whatnot. But I feel though that you can still meet like 1 to 5 dancers that can blow your mind.
Mm,
Or open, maybe not blow your mind, but open your mind to different possibilities and, bringing that back to your city, or doing that and sharing out, or, like you might be dancing a different way now that we're back in LA and people will be like, oh my gosh, they pick on something's different about you. Okay. So I remember someone being like, you gotta dance with so and so. And I was like, all right, cool, cool, cool. And then so I went up and I was like, would you like to dance? And this person's musicality was just, okay,
so
it's kind
good.
of like I've had this before in bachata once in LA where the person looked chaotic when you're watching them on the dance floor visually. Like you're just like, oh my gosh, you look like someone all over the place. But then when you dance with them, the connection's great. So it's
Mhm,
misleading. I
mhm.
don't know like how to describe it, but it's like that.
It's the same thing I think with people who, when they see micro, sometimes it looks terrible, or it just looks like it's like you're just wavy. But then when
And
you
huggy.
dance it, you're like, oh no, there's a lot happening here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is the soup.
Oh,
The soup is delicious. You just don't
yes.
know it.
Yeah. The broth looks so bland. And then when you actually stir up the
Mhm.
pot, you're like, oh, there's
Okay, like,
actually some stuff in
oh,
here.
there's some parsley. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, some fenugreek.
Yeah, so this person was so, um the song was playful, or you could be playful, and he started being so like the musicality just it was like doing three different dance styles at the same time to the beat, the lyrics, the everything. But he did in a playful attitude that it made me be like, oh, okay, you're being goofy. I'm gonna be goofy with you, but in a very musicality way. Um, and it was just such a delight dancing. I was just,
Hmm.
and then we danced another one in a row. But after that, I couldn't find him. But I was like, I'll get to him. I'll get to him. Then, you know, when you have two rooms, you're like, are they in the other room? And then you're like, did they leave early? No. And this was the second night too. So I feel like for me, my I had good dances both nights, but I because of the more people came out Saturday, I had a lot of highs as well. And
Hmm.
then there was someone I danced with, and I was like, y'all need to dance with this person. All right. We'll call him Baloney. But anyway, so Baloney, it was just like the second day, you guys, you guys danced with Baloney.
These are terrible code names, but okay, we'll go with it. We'll go with it.
I know, dude. It's like we didn't get permission to mention their names, huh? But
Yeah.
anyways, but Baloney was, it was like, it's like imagine if swing dance had a baby with a tango dance and they took that kid to hip hop class and taught it popping and tutting. That's what it was like for me.
Mm.
And so there are moments with micro where it wasn't just I'm standing and not moving my feet. It was like isolations, but in a way where it hit every single beat of even like a fast song. And then you would go to an open embrace and back to a close embrace. It was so dynamic. And I remember the second day you and someone else from our Airbnb danced with Baloney. And you guys are like, oh, I see it now. I was like, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Amazing. So I don't know how you would describe it.
Magic, that's how I describe it. It was, it was like because most of the time I'm leading. And to the point that you made earlier, people were like, "Oh, lead, follow, switch." I'm like, I mostly lead, but I'm good with whatever. I'm just not good at it. So if you're okay with that, we can do that. And it was interesting having dances where I was also following, but I felt like I was being taken care of. It's a weird way to like describe it. I'll highlight the safety component. I never felt unsafe, and it also felt very smooth. Where sometimes when I'm being led, it can be jerky, or it can be, it's still cool, right? But like because I'm not as refined as a follow, it's harder for me to hear. But I never felt like it was hard to hear. If anything, I felt like it was like, oh, this is what it's like to have a good lead.
Yeah.
And it almost makes me feel like I'm like, am I amazing? Like as a father, am I
Yeah.
just good? Right?
Yep.
It's like, and I'm like, I have
Yeah.
a reality check. I'm like, no, I'm not. They're just that good at
It,
leading, right? But
it's like you move just more smooth. It's like if someone gave you instructions that were so clear in a manual instruction
Mhm,
manual that you're like, oh, I know how to put this
mhm.
IKEA furniture set
like,
together. I don't
like,
have to like YouTube this
mhm.
like this part where I don't understand it.
It's
It's
almost like you have to try to mess it up to mess it up. It's that clear.
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And I think
yeah.
that's when that's like such good connection. Oh man. And just like straightforward leading. Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say there were like leads that just felt like butter.
Yeah.
Just smooth like butter, where there wasn't a little resistance. So again, I can totally I like resonate when you were saying like, am I good in terms of, but I do feel like with
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
solid
Yeah.
leads, even my turns are sharper. And I'm like, is that me or is that them? Or is that like both our energy forces combined together? Anyways.
Yo, speaking of, so there was a follow, I'll say Purple. And Purple was like, this is someone who people were like, you need to dance with her. This needs to happen. She dances Latin. And I was like, okay, okay, whatever. Because people say stuff all the time. They're like, you need to dance with so and so. And I was like, I want to, but I'm also just like, I'm not gonna force it. And it just so happened near the end that, we found each other and the song just fit. And it was like normally there's the period in the music and in the dance where like you feel a person out, you're just like, okay, we're gonna test it out, see where we're at. And it felt like we went from hi, hi to immediately just going for it. And it was so good. Like, oh my, I was like, what? Where? Like, I was upset because I was like, this could have been happening this entire weekend. And now I think it's like four songs left.
Womp.
that we're discovering each other, I feel ripped off, and I want to fight someone about it, you know? And
Why
then
can't we have a third day? You know? Um,
and we danced again. I think we did two, and then after that, you danced with them, and it was like, I mean, yeah, I don't know how it was for you, but for me, I was blown away.
and for anyone that's listening in, it's like I don't want to give the impression that every single dancer was like this. We're just talking about dancers that kind of stood out to us in terms of like dances that were memorable, right? Because I was thinking like, oh man, when I hear people say, "Oh my gosh, so and so is a great dancer," and I'm like, "Am I okay?" That's what I'm thinking,
Ooh,
right?
that flows into a question I'm going to ask you next, but go ahead.
Yeah. And so how I thought about it when I was explaining, because like for example, if I'm standing in front of you, I'm like, so and so, oh my God, bologna is amazing. I don't want you to think that you're not good. And so the analogy that came to me was more of like these are different flavors of dancers that I like. So it's kind of like I love Thai food, but I also love Spanish food. And let's say yours is like Spanish food, and this person introduced me like Thai mixed with Indian food, and it's amazing. But that doesn't lessen like your worth, who you are, because it's just different.
Mhm.
It's like your dish isn't better than their dish.
Yeah.
Just a different flavor with that I might be craving for a certain song, right?
Yeah.
So when it's like, I just don't want any LA people to think like, "Well, does she not enjoy dancing with me?" And I'm like, we have great dancers in LA as well too. It's just I think this is more of like, we just tried new restaurants this weekend and we're like, "Wow!" Yeah. But again, if these are like highlight dances we've had, not I wouldn't say across the board I've had this,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
every single dance. But again,
For sure. For sure. For
everyone, I
sure.
think across the board, and I said this in a past episode when I went to Mission Fusion like months ago when I went up there, and also Firehouse in Sacramento, where I feel like across the board, more people had fundamentals down, like
Yeah.
connection, floor craft.
Hmm.
Whereas in LA, it's like a hit or miss. I don't think, I don't think it's impossible for us to get better.
Hmm.
It's like for sure. It's just I think more at this point, like, do people are they aware and also do they
Yeah.
want to get better too?
Yeah. Well, I
Or is
have
it like just
two
for fun?
questions. No, sorry. No, I have two questions for you. The first one, though, is off the back of that. And then the other is going to revisit a point that you made earlier. So, my first question for you is, what do you think are missing skills from the LA scene aside from floorcraft? What skills, if you could just like grab something, especially something you saw over the weekend, and be like, boom, everyone downloads it and they just have it, what would that be?
Probably musicality.
Mm.
And
Can you define that a little bit? Like when you say musicality, what do you mean?
I was like playing with the music. It's like you can listen to a song and just go to the beat, but you can listen to a song, play with the beat, and then go to the lyrics and play back
Hmm.
on the beat. I
Hmm.
tend to
Hmm.
notice like some people just stick to one thing that they're comfortable with.
Hmm.
Because it's like for
Yeah.
me, like
Yeah.
rhythm is like I hear it, so that's the first thing I'm gonna go for. I will say though, here in NorCal, I didn't when there are contemporary songs or songs that in my head I think I would be like, okay, I'm going contemporary. I
Hmm.
don't think that was something that is maybe someone could do contemporary and knows how to
Hmm.
dance with it. But I remember thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, I could have danced this with certain people in LA because they would know what to work with, like with me
Yeah.
when it goes to these type of songs.
No,
I
it's
would
funny.
say like movement
Mhm.
vocab, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, more movement vocab. Oh,
Mhm.
sorry, more dance vocab.
Well, for me, I think I would say a deeper study of a particular style. Like I would say, I think people do a lot of different things, but LA is a city of sampling. People like to try a lot of things, and I would say pick one or two things and really go deep before you move on to something else. One of my favorite follows who is no longer in the area. She was great naturally, but she got so much better. Like in a way, it was hard to quantify because the dances just felt more amazing when she started like really seriously studying West Coast swing. It was like, oh, now we can share even more because you have a structure. It's not just
Yeah.
you're a great follow. Now it's like, oh, you also have a language to pull from. But
I
what's
wish I
funny
stole that answer.
No, no, no. What's funny is like I literally wrote down, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know what your answer was going to be. And I wrote rhythmic layering. And then a side note that was like percussion, melody, vocals, etc. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure this is what Trang's answer is going to be. And I love the fact that you answered it. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I,
it's just yeah. You know what? It's the difference between a dish that is just tacos,
hmm
like carnitas, and then there's a difference between a dish that's carnitas and underneath it you taste a little hint of clove with a
mm
little bit of cinnamon and some like maybe annatto spice. And but it's so subtle, but it
hmm
comes through like moments like and then
yeah.
5 seconds later you get cayenne pepper.
You're
It's like
like, wait, is that, oh my, what's that mixed in there? Was that something else? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So it's like you have 2 different tacos,
yeah.
but one you're like, "Wow, what?" Um
hmm
Yeah, even Meredith, our guest on episode 27, she said that where like a fusion dance isn't the best dance for partner dancing as your first dance. And dancers she tends to like later on when she revisits dancing with them, deep dive into another dance that has structure behind it. And so yeah, I would you know what? I would agree too. It's funny when you dance with someone and you're like, let's exchange contact information. And then, you know, you had a great dance and you see that
hmm
they compete or that they're
Teach
they teach.
internationally.
You're like, "Oh, you're a championship. No wonder you're" no.
You're
But
like, wow, you're pretty good. You
yeah,
should
or
teach
you
us
can tell
something.
like a lot of their dance they have a lot of dance videos up and tends to be like a specific style as well. So it's like they've been
Mm,
studying frame and connection naturally and a lot of patterns of that. So I would totally agree with that. And also Meredith, um, with that concept, with that idea for sure. I will say though, again, like some of my favorite dancers uh this weekend would be the same answer I gave when I went to Sacramento and Mission Fusion up in the Bay months ago. Is I think the 2 different types of dancers I like are one that have like a specific dance style, but they know how to fuse it. So usually like Westies, but it doesn't, you're like it kind of feels like Westie, but not, but they know how to modify it so it doesn't feel
yeah.
straight up like the basic moves, right?
hmm
And
hmm
then the other ones that I love, absolutely love dancing, including baloney, was a little when, they say I do a little bit of everything. But I don't think it's like they lightly visit everything. It's like they seem to have at least intermediate knowledge of
hmm
so many dances. So they know how
Yeah.
to play with and pull from
Yeah.
each of them. It's not like beginner basics that they have from each type of dance.
You know what? I had one of the compliments that like stood out to me is that I did a lift that a person had, and I asked. I There was only one person that I didn't ask, and I felt super bad because they were like, "That was great, but I have a back injury, so please no." And I was like, he, he was literally the only person, the only one that I did not like. That I didn't say, "Hey, are you okay with lift?" So
Now you
that
know.
was my fault. But we danced like two more after that, right? Like, so I was like, okay, I think we're good. I think we're okay. I don't think they hate me, but who knows? Um, but the person I did a lift, I did a lift, and they were like, I felt so secure, like I felt so safe, and I was like, yes, like that to me. They were just like it was like almost like this look of like, how? How did you do that? Because like I'm assuming they've done it before. They were, they've danced before, but it was like that level of security and trust, and that was like a compliment that I had gotten where people were like they felt safe, and I was like, okay, that means I'm doing something right because that's a thing that I like as a lead, and maybe I've been described as like flashy. I think sometimes because I do dramatic stuff, but I would much rather a person feel safe than feel like, oh, this dance was all these things. You know what I'm saying? Like I want them to feel safe emotionally, but also safe like physically, like their body is not in harm, you know? So I think safety is one of the words, hopefully, that people would use like, oh, he's gonna take good care of you. Like he's like a seatbelt. Okay. You're gonna you're gonna have a good time, but you're not gonna have a shoulder that's like out of its socket afterwards. Your neck is not gonna be like, you're not gonna have 20 body rolls in a row. Shout out to the body rollers out there giving out free Cairo service. You unlicensed, but hey, you're doing you're doing something. All the massage therapists listening right now are like, yeah, we got to deal with this.
Oh my god.
I'm
Oh,
if you really want to make money, just stand outside of a sensual bachata event with one of the massage tables and you're like your Venmo ready to go. That's all you need. You will make money. I can guarantee it. Listen, all right, let me stop. Let me stop.
oh my gosh, that's funny. I have a question. Let's start off with the lowlights and then go to the highlights
Yeah.
of a weekend. I would say the main thing was probably the changes, and it was kind of like sudden too. It was like a week and a half before the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty significant negative. It's one of those things that it can be turned into a positive if you spin it right. And I think, like, all
Yeah.
in all,
Recovery.
we had a great time. We had a great time, like, in terms of our experience in traveling together. But in terms of our experience, like, from the event standpoint, it was diminished. You know what I mean? Like, because the thing that we were going for shifted. And obviously you can't control everything and stuff happens. And I'm assuming, right, that like if something like that happened the way it did, it's because it's serious, and it seems like that was the case, right? Like it wasn't just, oh, we're gonna pull one over on people. It's like, no, there's a legitimate reason why this happens. But even with that, it's like making plans. And I made plans super early in advance. I mean, I knew by my birthday, which was in May, I was like, oh, this is the thing that I think I'm gonna do as my like gift to myself. So the fact that I wasn't able to go and have that full, and there was another option, right? Later that I was like, it's either this or it's that. I went with this one because I was like, oh, I heard good things about it. So then to go and to have, it's just like you make a reservation, you know what you're gonna order, you heard great things about the dish, and then you get there and you find out not only is that not available, but then your backup is not available. Your experience is gonna, and you maybe you still had a great night because of your friends and your community, but like you did not get the full experience. It makes
Right.
you question if you should even order that experience again. That's a feeling. It's like, oh, do I want to go through this again?
Given my perspective, I would say like as an event planner, when I found out this was like a one-man team doing the whole show, I was like, oh my God, like how?
That's stressful.
It like I've worked conferences, festivals, weddings.
Mm.
Um, Weddings are ones I can do alone, but I still have to have a backup in case something happens to me. Again, a car accident, anything, you know. And I think the funny thing about event planning is like in a way, I don't want to say I'm a pessimist, but it's just I guess in the corporate world they call it risk mitigation. But it's like you think of every single thing that can go wrong
Yeah.
and you just have plan B, C,
Mm.
D, and E.
Yeah.
But it takes what I feel working in event planning is that there are a lot of people in the event planning world that aren't event planners.
Mhm.
They there's I think there's visionaries, people that have ideas, right? Like Steve Jobs, he has all these ideas, but he had a whole team, a whole company to bring it to life. And when you are a detail oriented executor of things, you you kind of see how much labor is needed or need to be allocated in order to make things happen. Um, and if you're short staffed, then even one person, it's like the whole team can feel it. So I don't know when or who is going to do the LA Weekender one day, but I would just say like you need to have a team. So for people to step in case anything happens. Um and also I think like having a team of different skill sets, right? So there's going to be people that are naturally good at marketing. There's going to be people that are naturally good at admin stuff or budgeting or doing the nitty-gritty stuff. There's people that are good at just showing up and doing the labor work, right? But there's also you need someone that is the event planner, the project manager, someone that kind of oversees everything, is really good at communicating between different departments and whatnot, being good liaison, but that one is that takes a certain skill. I feel like to me, I would say it takes a certain brain. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish
Yeah. Yeah.
outside of
Yeah.
work, I'm not. a detail-oriented person, I wish I could just be like, "Whatever, guys, I can live carefree," but my brain has a hard time turning off, but it also makes me good at what I do. And I think in the dance world, from what I've observed, um, there's a lot of people with visionaries that just have visions, ideas. There's a lot of people in our community that have so many ideas,
Mhm,
but yet we don't have a lot of execution, in my opinion.
mhm.
And if that's in the LA scene, I feel like that's in a lot of that's actually just in anywhere. Like even event planning, you're just like they usually hire third party event planning companies to do things for them. But that's what I see. I see like majority of people are ideas, ideas, ideas. So big picture thinking, like let's do this, let's do that. But then if you tell them, okay, how many people do we need? How many hours do you think it's gonna take? It's really hard for them to be able to be like, "Okay, yep, this is what we need. This is the nitty-gritty. This is the resources. This is the cost of how much things are gonna take," you know? "Oh, you wanna change that one thing in the flyer? Great, we have to change everything else that we just published."
Yeah.
It's like a chain reaction, right? So, it's just I think the biggest thing is having a team, but having the right people to do it with the right skill set. So, it's hard because you everyone in the dance community may wanna help, but that doesn't and everyone's trying to keep things low cost and everything. So, but I think it's tough. It's really tough. Even we saw it in the Pennsylvania weekender too. Like they were short staffed. I feel like they were like so exhausted, the people running it. Um, so yeah, I think that's it. It's just like having backup plan, and things
Like a
having a
backup
backup
plan for your
plan.
backup plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plan B, C, and D.
Yeah.
But have someone that can, I think, execute things.
Mm. Do you
Yeah.
think it's a skill set that people can learn and acquire, or is it something that is maybe more innate? Kind of like the question about stillness, right? Like, is it something that can be taught, modeled, etc.?
I think it's innate. It can be taught, but it's gonna take more time. Here you go. So it's kinda like I remember reading this thing about, like, it was, like, something about strengths and weaknesses or like, your strengths finder or something like that, and the great example they gave was, I think the author wanted to be a basketball player. So he trained so hard all his life to try to become a basketball player, and he was short, he was like 5'6" or something like that. But he just had that mindset of like, "If I just keep trying, keep training and whatnot," and you hear stories about that, it could be successful, but he looked back and he was just like, "If I spent my time training in something I was naturally good at, I would exponentially be so good at it by now,
Mhm.
versus, like, something that I was kinda, like, wasn't it
Okay,
harder for me."
or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mhm. Like, imagine trying to give a very artsy person an accounting job. They could probably do it, they might mess up a lot more, and then the boss was like, "Great, I have to redo your work," and you can keep training them, but in the end, if you put people in roles where they don't shine, it's gonna it's soul sucking, and also it's not efficient. It creates more work for you. So if you want someone I think if you want someone to get the job done and fast, then hire someone that's naturally good at it. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think I think there is, like, a certain innateness to it. It can be trained, but it's like, do you want to? Do you wanna spend that time, effort, energy to
Yeah.
train?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Mm, dang, that's good. That's good. Okay, I have a question for you, and this is also kind of in the same pocket. This can be about the dancing and or also about the event, but what were some of the wish you hads? As in the things you're like, man, I wish I had blank.
More sleep. No, I'm kidding. As a person that slept till 4 p.m.
Dude,
I did appreciate, though, that you guys I told everyone at Airbnb, I was like, "Do not talk to me before, like, 3:30 p.m." And you guys listened, I was like, "Wow."
meanwhile, I was trying to take a nap, and at some point, y'all were like harassing me, and I looked up. I'm glad I caught it. I saw you had a pot in your hand. I was like, "What the? Why do you have a pot? And what are you planning to do with a pot, Trang? I'm sleeping. What's happening? Like, what's going on here?"
I we'll get to that. We'll get to why I was holding up was a pan, I think, in my hand.
Was it? Well, it was some kind of kitchen object. Okay, that's all I
Um,
remember.
you know what? I had, like, 2 sort of embarrassing moments this weekend.
Mm,
So, on Monday, I went to Shades. That's, like, a weekly Monday fusion dance social.
mm,
So you guys already left on Monday, I left on Tuesday. Um, So Mission Fusion, there's two that I know. So Mission Fusion is the one that happens every 2 weeks, and I feel like that's like kind of like our version of maybe like Fusion Vibe, where it's a bigger venue and you get a
Mhm.
like more random people coming, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mixed with like the regulars.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
you're gonna
sounds
get
fun.
people from like swing and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like Shades, which happens every Monday, it's kind of like Atomic. It's a smaller venue, not as small as Atomic here in OC, but um it feels more intimate. And you see, except for Shades, you see like maybe more of the regulars come out. And it's on a Monday, so it ends at 11 p.m. It's not going to end like at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So it definitely has a different, more intimate vibe. This one guy, he reached out for my hand, or I thought he did, but he was reaching for something behind me. So when he was reaching out for my hand, I put out my hand, being like, "Oh, you want to dance with me?" Oh man. That moment, I don't want to say I want to die. It wasn't that bad. It was just more like, "Oh, okay. Huh, how do I play this off?" So that's one moment.
Yeah. Woo. Oh man. Yeah, that happened that something like that happened to me where I was like I thought the person was like asking me to dance and so like I got up and started walking towards them and then they made a face and I was like, "Oh." And I played it off. I was like, "Dang, that'd have been crazy, huh?" And just like I totally played it off, but it was like we knew, you know what I mean? Like we all knew what happened.
Um, when was this? Last week? No,
Yes, actually it was.
are you serious?
Yeah, it happened. It literally happened there at I think it happened Saturday. Yeah.
That happened to the both of us.
Yeah. We ended up dancing later, but I felt like they felt bad. So I was like,
Yeah, they were like, "What's up with these LA people? Like, are they blind?"
like yes, the lighting isn't great. So we
And technically, I don't have my glasses, so it's
I'm like there weren't enough up lights.
the worst. The worst is like Tango when you're just like, I can't tell if they're looking at me or not. Okay. And then the second part where I was like, oh, this is awkward, sort of. So at Shades, I danced with someone and he was a dancer. I remember dancing at Fusion, at Mission Fusion, and we both loved our dances. We're like, oh my gosh. We became friends on Facebook. We also messaged each other talking about the dance because I recorded the video and I sent it to him. So, you would think someone would know you, your name, and your face, that kind of stuff. So I danced with him and he did not recognize me, know me, or anything like that. And I remember thinking like, do I say hi? Do I say like, "Hey, how are you? Do you remember dancing with me?" So I didn't do anything. I just left it at that. I think he was preoccupied with someone else. So he's because he's dancing with her like a lot that night. I don't know if they're partners or whatnot now. So, anyways, but it was just
Mm.
one of those things where I was like, okay, if we meet again and we're like, we should, and if he says like we should exchange contact information, I'm like, what? Do you say like we're already Facebook friends? So that was like oh, okay, I'm just gonna play
Mm.
this off and pretend I guess I don't
Oof.
know you either.
Yeah.
So that's apparently I'm unmemorable, which, okay. Um,
You just got to
uh,
shave the side of your head.
when someone's like, "What do you remember from your weekend?" I'd be like, "Those." It's
Yeah, the trauma, the rejection.
the amnesia. No. But with the Monday shades because it's like atomic here. I guess maybe I don't know if it's like a lower turnout or it's smaller or it's because it's Monday night, but one thing I noticed is like things that run frequently, maybe they are a smaller event versus like, like Fusion Vibe and that kind of stuff. Or when they're only once a month, I wonder if people are more inclined to go to them because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we gotta go. It's this one only, it's only this one.
You like prioritize it. Yeah.
I actually want to bring up a topic with you because actually other organizers, dance organizers have brought this up as well. Um, rolling on the floor, on the dance
Oof.
floor.
Oh, yeah. Oof, this is gonna be all right. Well,
What are your thoughts on that? Because usually
yeah.
we've seen it, even here in the Bay Area as well, where
Yeah.
people start doing contact improv. And I didn't think much of it because usually I don't ever the leads I dance with, I'm never like in that area or whatnot. Usually, but yeah, when other event organizers started asking or talking to us about it, I was like, oh, that's something that I guess would be on their mind in terms of safety. So
Yeah.
I'm just so curious what your thoughts on that when people start doing contact improv on the floor.
My big thing is number one, where are you doing it?
Mm,
I think that's the first thing is like, where are you doing it? I'm assuming that both people are consenting or all people who are involved are consenting and they want to be on the floor. So that's not a question. It's like, where are you doing it? Because if you're doing it in the middle of the dance floor, your problem. Like 100%, I don't think that's acceptable because people now have to step over you. You're on a totally different plane than people, and like our eyes are typically up and down, but on the horizontal plane. Like we're in and out. We're here on this level. Now we have to account for the fact that you're on the floor, so we might have to step over or around, right? And there's a lot of reasons why that's just such a problem. I mean, people might have injuries. There might be some limitations there physically, so they're not able to actually move out of the way. There's a lot of bad things that can happen. That's a safety problem. If you're off on the side, you're somewhere where like, there's a corner or something like that, more or less, it's like so long as you're not like, blocking traffic, yeah, have a good time, right? Like, but I think there's a awareness for space that you have to have if you decide that that's what you're going to do. And especially if that's not like the format of dance that people are dancing. It's the same thing I think with lifts, right? Like it's with lifts, they can be incredibly dangerous if you're not mindful of what you're doing, if you're not paying attention to your surroundings. So like I'm not going to say someone shouldn't do it, but I will say that if you do it carelessly, that will 100% affect everyone else in the room, and that's not always a good thing. You might be doing some really cool stuff, having a great moment, but now six, seven other people have to respond to you and have to move out of the way. And now because you're moving away from this couple, you're that's having a ripple effect on everyone else surrounding them. Um, so yeah, that my thing is it being done safely? That's a big question.
right. Um, I can see now, especially when we started FU, Fusion University, that from an organizer's point of view, but when I first started dance, I was like, man, why are they so like overly concerned?
Yeah.
But from the
Liability.
but now when you are actually a dance organizer, you're like, oh yeah, there's liability, and then there's also it could be a PR issue as well.
Hmm.
Like, oh yeah, if you go to that place, that dance scene, there's like a lot of people that just go chaotic and wild, and you might get hurt, and that's
Yeah.
going to affect possibly their dance scene, their dance event reputation, which if it scares away people, that's like also less money for them too, or they might not even break even. So it's kind of like a trickle effect that people don't see, but now we see it because, you know, we have to think about that too. Um, I also think like towards the end of the night, when people like half the people have left, that's a really good time, ideal time to fill up
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
space.
yeah. Go for it. Go
You know what they should
crazy.
do? They should just play like fast Latin songs the first 70% of the night. And then the last 30%, when people have gone, they just play the like contact, like the slower songs. I just,
The like super dramatic like song.
yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of
yeah.
super dramatic, when we were talking about LA versus NorCal or even other area dancers. Um, I think another thing is when we say LA is more flashy, we style more.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we style, we'll like, because I noticed when I was in the Bay, there's not a lot of styling,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah.
my styling comes a little bit influenced from Latin, and
Hmm.
maybe what I've seen in ballroom
I was
too.
gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like up and
Yeah.
out
Yes,
like
up and
type
out.
of
So
dancing.
that does take up space too. And in a way, like I have to be careful with my floor calf because there are
Yeah.
times where I actually just move my hand out and then it hits someone's shoulder and
Mm.
I'm just like, oh crap. Like, of course, it's not going to kill them, but it's still the fact that it's my floor calf, that I need to be responsible for. So, but yeah, like up and out versus, like you said, I do agree with like the more
Mhm.
compressed, it's like they know how to it's like they know how to dance in a small bedroom.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe
Um,
that's like a drill we could do is like dancing in a hula hoop. Like, how do you have a dynamic dance in a hula hoop?
Roll around in a hula hoop. All right. So I think also now the highlights of the weekend.
Gosh, so many
You go first.
highlights.
I have quite a few actually.
Honestly, it'll sound corny. One of my biggest highlights was the crew, man. Like
Ah,
staying up
I love
after
that.
and
Yeah.
being like, "Oh my gosh, did you dance with this person? Because they were so good." And then like, no, they were so good. Like, no, doing that till 5 in the morning was such a vibe. Like, dude, it's just because like at the end of the day, like this is a hobby, and we love this hobby. I mean, even the fact that we're doing a podcast about, or we're talking about social dancing, like because we're doing it because we love it. So to be able to do that with other people, to just geek out and like have no restrictions in terms of like, oh, we have to go to bed the next day. It's like, no, we can actually stay up till 5 in the morning and we're like half sleep, but we're still going and we're drinking tea, but we're like slurring our words and we're just like saying stupid stuff, but like it's so much fun. That was one of my big highlights. Like I was like, yeah, this is the crew I want to go everywhere with from now on. I'm like, I don't care what's happening. I want to like, what's the event? Okay, cool. These are the people that I want to go with.
Yeah. It's kind of like, hey, do you guys want to like all bunk and at the next thing, you know? Um, you know, obviously, like hands down, I agree. And everyone, I think on our final night, actually each night we agreed. We're just like this, the way, because the thing is, we didn't, I kind of knew you, I guess. But I didn't know the other two as well, so it's just one of those things, you do it to save money and you just hope that everything's chill.
We've
Because,
been podcasting together for like a year and some change. You're like, I guess I kind of know you.
no, well, you know what? I'm about to bring up some details. I'm gonna bring up some details um, because it's different living with someone versus like,
Hmm.
hey, I just meet you at dance and we just talk about dance and have fun and ha ha ha, right? So, um, yeah, I think the bonding, but just more of like, I don't know how this is gonna turn out, what the dynamics are gonna be. But it worked out even better because it's just like I think it helps when you all have the same humor, when you end up just surprisingly having the same humor
Mm.
and like sort of roasting each other, but also not. Um, and then also things when okay, when I'm very hesitant to travel with people when I go on an international trip because there's so many nuances that happen. Like you have to think like, are we eating out together to save money? Are we sleeping in the same bed to save money? Like uh can you eat spicy or like are you okay with eating normal groceries? Are you a bougie eater where you have to have like organic everything, but that's out of my budget. So there's so many things that can go wrong, right? But again, I think I totally agree with you where we just happen to all sync up and be on the same page with those things. Getting home, we all were on the same page of like we're all staying till the end of the night for dancing. No one's leaving early. We're all Ubering together, and it was kind of like understood. And being able to cook together and it's just so funny though, because you and someone else just like, "Okay, I'm gonna bring tea, and then I'm gonna bring all these teas," and I'm in the group chat being like, "I think we guys, we're only there for like 3 days. We don't need that much tea?"
But
But,
it came in clutch though. So
and you guys took a lot home. Yep.
uh,
Yeah, no, but I think this is where the communal feeling, the community growing happens. It's not in I think it's in the little moments of the like, you just like the IHOP, the Denny's, the repeated okay, one thing I notice in life is the friendships that kind of build over time slowly, like slow burn, is you have simple but repeated moments together. So same thing with coworkers. You become good friends by having a water cooler talk or having happy
mm,
hour. It's not like one big grandiose like moment where you're like, oh my gosh, we're best friends. And in a way, that's like a ripple effect, and we were invited to hang out with some people, some locals, on Sunday, and it was lovely being able to be like, "I've seen you guys at Instagram, we've connected because it's just, like,
mhm.
confusion and somehow you just appeared on, like, suggested page, but it was so different being able to meet them in person and talk to
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, cool, these are some cool peeps that just love doing what we do." What was
Mhm.
cool was some of them were, like, on the dance floor or even just throughout the weekend, they were like, "Are you the podcaster?"
Yeah, that was
And
really
I was
cool.
like, "What?"
That was cool.
I thought only LA people listen to us and
It
want
was weird in some ways because I was like, oh, there are people who know what I look like and know what I sound like that never met.
Yeah.
And this is it's a small group, it's a small community, but it's also really cool to hear like, oh, we're doing something that's having an impact outside of our immediate target, our immediate area, which is
Yeah.
local.
Yeah, yeah, that is really cool. I wonder if that's how teachers feel, like the ones that are,
Mhm.
well known or their travel, where people know them, but I wonder if teachers expect sort of like, wonder if they get used to it where people know them because they have videos of themselves on social media and whatnot? Because for us podcasting, it doesn't feel like a what do you call it? A showy gig. It's very behind the scenes. It's like we're talking on
We just
microphones.
talk.
We just talk to each other on Zoom, so it doesn't feel like we're in front of people. And I think that's what feels weird about it because people are like, "Oh, we see you," and I'm just like, "Where?" And then we're like, "Well, duh, it's on Instagram." But it doesn't. It's like we don't get a lot of live interaction with people, in
Yeah.
terms of like in like teaching in front of
Like,
class and
yeah, yeah.
whatnot. Yeah, so it is one of those things like, "Oh shoot, people do know us. You know my face, or you know what I should have been like? No, that's not us. Stop being racist. Don't assume just because I'm Asian, he's black, and we happen to walk into a room together that
Wait,
we're
I'm black? Hold on.
what I love was someone was commenting on, like, how our episode on because they went to I think a bunch of them went to Seattle Hi-Fi Weekender,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
that was
yeah,
the
yeah.
episode where you had the recap,
Yeah, yeah,
and they were
yeah.
like, "Oh, no, here he goes. Here's the tea. What are they gonna say bad about the event?" And, yeah, it was just you talking about the smell.
I stand 10 toes by that. It was an amazing time dance-wise, but I needed an inhaler, and I don't even got asthma. I was like, "Hold on, brother. Something is wrong here. I feel like I'm back in Pennsylvania. It's not safe."
Yeah, so I think overall, yeah, the highlights honestly, it's always hmm. So, as many places I've traveled internationally, and this is not even for dance, this is more so like, just traveling the world. The more I travel, the more I learn that it's not really much about the tourist attractions and the destination. It's always about the people because the people are what make up the cities, the towns, the energy, the vibrancy of where you're at. But not just the people, but the discussions and chats that you get to have with these people. Like some of my best memories when people say, "What's your favorite country?" People that traveled a lot, I feel like it's kinda irrelevant because 'cause you're just like, "It depends. Are you asking me what's my favorite country for food, for the beach, for, like, how they run their country?" Like, what are you asking when you say that's such a big question? But if you say, "Which is your memorable country?" Usually those memorable ones are tied to, like, people and really good moments and times, conversations you had, whether it's in a hostel, you or, like, a receptionist that helped you out and went above and beyond, or the locals that were so friendly and took care of you. And that's why, like, I'm seeing the parallel with this as well, where yes, we went for City in Motion, but the highlight was our Airbnb crew. That was like like awesome crew. That wound up being an awesome crew. It was like we didn't know what it was gonna turn out to be. It turned out better than we thought. And also like meeting the people in real life, like in actual real life, face to face,
Yeah.
up in the Bay. You hear about the Bay and
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, cool. Cause sometimes you go and you're just like, maybe no one wants to talk. Maybe they're just there to dance, go home.
Mhm.
But the fact that they're just like, "We can't" some of them were like, "Oh, man, like, we gotta make a trip down to LA." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Really?" Like,
Come
"Wow,
on, come on, come down to LA.
yeah,
We here.
yeah." We just gotta find a place to house them, that's all.
Now I think we'll
Yeah,
find I think we'll find
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, who has the home? No one.
I'm like, "We got a box for you if you don't mind camping," you know?
I think what makes me more excited is the fact that people are they're it's like when you meet it's exciting to meet people and them meeting us, and then I'm like, "Wow, what are the possibilities when we go to other cities, to other weekenders and stuff, and,
Yeah,
like, get
yeah.
to know even more dancers," doing the same thing that we love, having fun, and maybe we'll have more amazing conversations at 3 in the morning at Denny's or something like that. And then also, like, when people said, "Oh, I know this person. You know this person too?" And it's like, your
Yeah.
worlds are colliding, like, "Wow," like, you know this person from New York and, like, Philadelphia not Phila and Pennsylvania and, the Bay, like, it's a small world.
Mhm.
So, I think
Yeah.
that's the possibilities are exciting. And, and you told me some people were like, "When's the LA Weekender?"
Yeah, I got that a couple times,
Mhm.
like, a couple folks are like, "Yeah," they'd say stuff like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you're here," whatever, like, "Yeah, come down to LA." Then they'd say like, "Oh, well, when's LA's Weekender? When is that?" And we're like, "We'll let you know." That's pending, you know? Yeah,
2030 now.
20
I mean, you know what? That's only 5 years away, so
Mhm,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know, I think we could get one 2027. I think we could make it work.
Depends how we
2027?
depends how the community executes it.
That's true, that's true.
Everyone has a vision for weekenders, everyone gets excited. By the
Mhm.
end of the day, you need people to pull through and help you with it, so but we got some good peeps in LA.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things too that makes me super excited about, like, after this weekend, it was like, oh, we have all of the pieces. I think it's just a matter of those things naturally coming together. And when I say naturally,
Yeah.
there is some work involved in that. It's more like making kombucha. Like you don't
Yes.
make it, you cultivate it. You know what I'm saying? You don't
Yeah.
force it, you just provide the environment for it to do what it's supposed to do.
Mhm.
And I feel like if you do the same thing for people, they will naturally flourish into the next growth phase, the next extension of whatever that thing is. So it feels like LA's on that path. It,
Yeah.
it feels like it's on that path. Like
We're
we're
definitely in
not
the
where we're
building.
gonna be. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like we're
We're in
getting
the
there.
we're in the building phase for sure. Um, oh yeah, happy 1-year anniversary-ish to us.
Wow.
Like, by the time this is published, it's probably
Yeah.
gonna be, like, a year and, like, 1 to 2 months, you know? But I guess, like, just to end off with it, like, I guess since it's been 1 year, what have been some memorable moments or, like, highlights for you since we started? Because literally we started this because you and I were talking over a dance video that I sent you where I recorded us
Yeah.
dancing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I didn't really know you yet.
You know what? I could be really corny and be like, "Oh my gosh, the highlight was like getting to know you and just doing this really cool thing." Honestly, the highlight, I think one highlight that really stands out was the first time someone came up to me and was like, "Where do I know you from?" And I named a bunch of events, and they were like, "Oh no, I saw your Instagram post." And I was like, "Oh, wait, what?" And it was like that moment made me, it kind of clicked that like, oh, this is something that, has the potential to affect people. And then the highlight from there subsequent has just been hearing people interact with it, hearing people, say like, oh, and give ideas and give their like, to me, I hear that as like, oh, you're giving a bit of yourself because you identify with it. You're giving a bit of like, this is doing something for me, so I want to give and exchange something of value to it. That's been super, super cool, you know. So yeah, it's a little highlight for me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, please
Mhm.
interact with us on social media more
I
though,
know.
because
Oh,
we
they
need more
yeah.
engagement.
Like, you're willing to give us ideas, but you're not willing to
Like,
say put an emoji in the comment section?
people will say like they'll say stuff in person that I'm like, yeah, say that under in the comment section, please.
"Hey, can you give me your phone right now? I'm gonna pull up." Okay, can
Like,
you
give me your phone, I'll type it for you. Like,
It's funny because I feel like I'm this person that came in, and I can see how people might be like, "Who she thinks she is? She doesn't have that many years experience,
mm,
right, under her belt," which I don't, but I think it also shows that you don't have to be a big person to make an impact,
mm,
and I think that people with what's going on in the world, I feel like sometimes people feel small, like, "What difference can I make?" But the difference in what we make in people's lives is the ripple effect, really.
yes.
So, whether it's maybe a quote that you said on dance is not doesn't define your value of who you are. Maybe someone heard that at the right time they need to, and that made them change the trajectory of how they approach dance and their their dance journey, right? Or maybe it's us connecting to people on the dance floor because we play dance matchmaker and we're just like, oh my God, just because we're excited. We're just like, this person knows Latin, this person kind of knows Latin, and you guys will like vibe and it's gonna be so amazing. And they have an amazing dance that blows their mind. And they say, like, huh, I like fusion. This is interesting. It's the same thing how someone recruited me in fusion too. And you're just like, it's kind of confusing when it clicks or you see the possibilities. You're like, okay, there's so much more I can do. I feel, and then it sends me down a road of like, I can feel more comfortable in my body. I can express myself. I don't have to be so much in my head. This is something I can really enjoy and get into. And so for us also doing this podcast, I remember in the beginning, I was like, you know what? You're giving me some like just little like, friend advice on like how to look at things. And I was like, if this helps me, this can help someone else. Who knows? We would know because people don't comment. Anyways. Um, but I think it's cool being able to see the little ripple effects that this podcast came out to be because there's so much from dancing to talk about connection, creativity, um, what fusion is. And then we've seen people start creating their own fusion events,
Yeah.
or they start creating their own fusion social media pages. And I think in a way, we started there's a difference between growing the dance scene, but I think there's a difference between growing a dance community. And with a community, you have to be more involved with the people and be able to tie people together, even if their personalities may be different. But you can find some similarities always, usually, you know? And I think the fact that we have people in our community that are like someone said to me, like, I'm making friends, and this person has been in the dance scene for, I don't know,
Yeah.
decades or over a decade at least. And so when we introduce people or we host community events to give people opportunities to get to meet each other, I think that's all people need sometimes, like some leaders or proactive people to just say, like, hey, let's do this thing. Let's have a beach day.
Yeah.
So I can see you more as a human instead of just a dancer. I guess that's it.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, do you need Kleenex?
Nah, I'm good. I don't believe in expressing emotion, you know. I just bottle it up and save it
It's
all
gonna
for
be like people
dance.
are like, this is so emotionally abusive, this podcast. Can't express ourselves only through movement.
No. If it's not through movement, it doesn't matter, you know. That's a
No.
I'm like, save your tears. They're gonna play a sad song, okay? Just hold out. Hold on.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, being able to see people get to know each other in our community has been wonderful. Also, I think another thing that's fun is we hype people up to do parties. You should do a dance party for that. Oh my gosh, yeah, you should.
Mhm.
And then hopefully we get invited and then we get to dance more.
They're like,
It's
the
more for
party
fun.
was great, and we're like, wait, what party?
But no, I do get excited when someone's like, hey, can you want to come to the pool party? You want to come to the beach party? You want to come to the whatever party? And I'm like, I made the cut. You want me there? Is there going to be food? Or do
No,
I need to
that's
like
that's a
eat
valid
before I go?
question.
Yeah.
Listen, we already know what the test is to know if there's going to be food there. We can't say it on air, but if you know, you know.
Oh man, that's funny. So, anyways, with that, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Give us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Comment on our social media at Fusion Dance Podcast.
Please.
Or check out our dance school at Fusion University. We have a bunch of resources we'll link down below. We have classes, privates, practicas, and social events. So you can sign up for those by signing up for our email newsletter down below. And honestly, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us ramble and talk. And when I say ramble, honestly, it's more so like editing, so you hear less of the rambling. And we do really love the community. We love what dance has done for us. We appreciate you guys so much. Or even also, there's a person from Denver that's like, "Hey, I found your podcast, and I'm coming to town. Do you have any practicas or classes going on?" And that
I
was
love
so
that.
cool because
Oh,
I'm like, "How did you find us?" And so we're gonna hopefully see her this Friday at a dance social. So I think that's so cool. Yeah, it's
yeah,
good.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, and she said she just discovered Fusion, and it's like seems like it changed her life maybe. So yeah, definitely understand that feeling. So, anyways, so thank you again for being here with us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.